All right, I got a new one for you today. We are actually going to be working on a trolling motor, and I apologize for the road noise. Not much I can do about that, but let me show you what we've got here. All right, so this is a Rhodan 36 volt, 60-inch shaft, and here's the issue that I'm having with it. For those of you that know this, there's a little puck right here when you turn it on that has 3 lights. One's the GPS. I'm not sure what the middle one is, and the right one is a signal to the key fob. I called Rhodan and I sort of told them what was going on, and what's happening is when I hit the button on the key fob, this little light flashes, but nothing happens with the trolling motor. It doesn't turn, you can't turn the thrust on, anything like that. These motors are pretty simple. There's a board in the head and that's actually what receives the signal from the remote. There's obviously a motor in this box right here that makes it turn left and right. There's obviously some sort of motor in the bottom unit there that's sealed. You can't really replace that. And then there's a box, a board in here. And so basically what the technician told me was, because it's getting a signal, the light was flashing, the board in here is good. There's a chance that the motor is bad, but likely it is what's called the HCB board in here. So I'm going to show you how to get in there and replace that. Now I'm going to tell you about a terrible design flaw in these. Now you probably noticed that I've got a stainless steel ring here and a screw, and that probably looks different than yours. And the reason that looks different is because of the design of these things. So you can see here how this is broken off. This part was in here, but it's such a terrible design because essentially the way that this works is this metal part screws in. I'll show you where it screws in here in a little bit. And then the screw screws into this. Well, the thing just corroded together, turned into a solid piece. And once that happens, when I unscrew this, it actually unscrews the post and it makes it one. Well, once you do that, you can hardly get this out because of a metal bar that's in there. But let me pull it apart and I'll show you how to do it. But basically what you're gonna have to do is take the screws off here. There's screws here on the other side too. The thing you want to be careful of, as you can see, that's a big Phillips head, so you want to make sure you use the appropriate size screwdriver for that, and oftentimes these will corrode together with the aluminum inside, so make sure that you're using the appropriate screwdriver and put some torque into it. So once you get that front panel off, you can see where this aluminum here, those 2 pieces can corrode. So it's best to put a little grease on all those screws before you put them back in. You notice on this side that plastic piece is still there. But what I ended up doing was replacing the screw once I got it all apart. Let me pull it apart, I'll show you. So here's essentially the original problem. So when these are attached right here and it all comes off as one piece, well, now all of a sudden you can't take that plastic piece off because it interferes with this metal bar on both sides. So what I ended up doing was basically using a oscillating tool and cutting this off once I got it off, and then replacing it with this. So this is a stainless steel M6 screw, which means it's got machine threads, it's got a tighter thread, and it is 45 millimeters long, 40 millimeters long. So I got this at Home Depot. This is actually I got 2 of these screws, M6-1 by 40 millimeter. And that allows me then to screw in here and completely eliminate these altogether. All right, so you can see this is the board that we're gonna replace. So this is obviously gonna have to be reconnected. This actually is part of the control unit at the top. But I'm gonna go ahead and get this board out and then we'll look at it deeper. First things first, let's disconnect this plastic piece just so we can get it out of the way. These 2 just unscrew. And once you do that, it'll just pull out. set that aside. Basically, you can see here, there's essentially a screw here, and I believe a screw underneath here that will have to come out, and then these will have to be reconnected, and this will have to be reconnected. This one you can go ahead and unscrew. This is what connects the control box. Make sure you notice here that it goes underneath this. Biggest thing to take note of is where all the zip ties are, because we're going to re-zip tie all this back together. I don't know if this matters, but I just want to document it. The wire in the back goes to this little network bus thing. The wire in the front is the one that's going to go to this plastic piece, and then obviously this is the wire that goes to the control box or the motor box. Obviously you want to be careful here when you're getting this shrink wrap off of these connectors, but you want to get all of it off of the part that's going to be reconnected, because you're going to get a new heat shrink to put on it. One thing I noticed with the new one is that they give you, like, the back part here is thicker, so they give you a replacement screw for this back part, so just keep that in mind. Now before you go connecting all these, make sure you put the new shrink wrap over them, so that once you connect the two together, you can shrink wrap it. All right, so here's what it looks like after it's done. I went ahead and reattached these, zip tied them together, zip tied them to this cord. Same thing over here, zip tied those together. Now there's one difference. In the old box, you'll notice there's only two of these. I believe they're called NEMA plugs. In the new box, there's three. There's one here, there's one here with the green label on it, and then there's one here. And I gathered the old one I had one with the green label, and it plugged in up here. I suspected that they just integrated this into this box, so I went ahead and took the cap off the end of it and just attached that cap here. I guess time will tell if I did that right, but I think I did. Well, everything fit back together fine. So let me go ahead and put the screws in it. I'm gonna put these side plates on. And then there's one more thing that the directions say to do. Now, what's interesting with this HCB board that I got is that it also came with this firmware updater and instructions on how to do it. It says here, if you received any warranty/new control modules with this updater, please install them before attempting to update the firmware. So apparently there's new firmware that's got to be installed with this, and there's a couple places you could do it. You can either attach it to the cable coming out here, or you could take the head unit apart and attach it here. You're basically, it looks like just connecting it to this NEMA connector. So I'm gonna follow these instructions and see if we can get everything connected and set up properly. All right, well, there you have it. Everything is put back together. I'm underneath the carport, so it's still acquiring GPS signal. But you can see here, I've got two green lights on the side and got a flashing one. It's still acquiring GPS. Once I get some time, I'll take this out on the water and show you, hopefully, a functioning trolling motor. I just realized I never made the video showing the trolling motor working, but I assure you it did. That board solved the problem. Put it in the water, everything's working great. If you want to see more videos like this, like the channel, subscribe, and I will see you on the next one.